Welcome to Best Mindset Group. The reason you're probably watching this video is you're looking at joining us, or you have joined us, and you want to review some of the goal setting processes that we do on a regular basis to make sure you're getting the most out of this and really driving your business forward. Today what we're going to talk about is goal setting. In every single Best Mindset Group, we do a portion of it that's committed to setting goals with one another, really getting our vision clear, creating focus on that vision, and to make sure we have some accountability within the group as well. So today we're going to cover how to go through that process properly and just how to fill out the forms that it takes to actually do that. So in this first video, we're going to look at the form piece. So what I'm going to do before we actually get started on this form that you may have seen or may not have seen in the past is I just want us to take us to this side, and I want us to look at the core fundamentals of goal setting. It's so important that as entrepreneurs to stay focused on the right stuff, that our goals are focused on the right stuff. So let's go through this acronym. It's called a SMART goal, S-M-A-R-T. So some of you may have seen this before. Very basic idea of how to set a goal, but very impactful if you actually can do it properly. So let's take a look at the first acronym. So S stands for specific. So specifically, what is your goal? You know, some people might say my goal is to be more successful. But let's break that all the way down to what does success actually mean? Does success mean, paying the bills? Okay, if it means paying the bills, how much is that? Okay, now you have a dollar amount. Okay, well, how many clients do you need to make that dollar amount? Okay, now let's keep breaking it down. How many estimates or how many client visits do you need to get that many clients? And to break it down even further, how many leads do you need to get that many client visits? And to break it even further down, how many hours do you need to put in to get that many leads? So the specific part of a goal is really taking that idea of I want to be more successful and grounding it into a specific number that gives you direct focus on the things you can do on a daily basis. So that is specific. Measurable. So we touched on this in specific, but measurable is all about having a goal that has a number or something tangible tied to it so you can see whether you hit or missed. So if my goal was to make more money in my business, that's not very measurable. But if my goal is to make $5,000 more in this month, then I know whether I hit or missed based on that exact number. It gives me a very clear target. So make sure your goals are measurable. Next one is attainable. This one's funny. So a lot of us set goals and we go after stuff. And before we know it, we've got, say, a month to do what we should have done in maybe in 6 months. And we tell ourselves, okay, every week I'm going to get 40 leads, when on regular we've only been getting maybe 10 leads or something like that. But we say we're going to do it because we need to do it because we need to have a ton of catch up to do. But is it really attainable? The key behind goal setting is realizing, okay, I need to make a bigger impact in what I'm doing on a weekly basis, but I can't just do it all at once. Why don't I increase my goal to say 15 leads this next week, not 40? Now, yeah, I'm still going to be behind a little bit, but at least it's attainable. Don't kid yourself. Do what's within your reality. Next thing is relevant. This is all about staying focused on the right stuff. We're really good at getting distracted as entrepreneurs, and I'm sure you are too. And it gets exciting to take on projects and work on parts of our business and feel very busy. But if it's not relevant to making money in our business, it really isn't relevant to our business as a whole, especially when you're starting out. So relevance is all about, is what you're setting a goal on relevant to where you're heading later on? So a good idea of this is, say you're out to make money. Well, most of us are as business owners, but your goals are always on, designing a better flyer or designing your product to be even better. Is it really directly impacting the profit? If it's not, which a lot of times it isn't, it's just a big distraction, maybe the goal should be on something more like I need to call this many leads, or I need to stay focused on this many sales within the month. Especially when we're in startup, it's really easy to get goals that are not relevant to increasing our income to help be able to keep us around. Make sure goals are relevant to what's truly important to you. And the last one is time framed. If you have a time limit on what you're doing, it creates some urgency. A lot of us need that fire under our butt to really make sure that we're doing it in a certain period of time. Otherwise, sometimes we just prolong it forever. That said, if you don't hit your goal, but you're on pace, and you know that, okay, I need an extra 2 or 3 days to complete it, or I needed 1 extra week to complete it, but you still made progress in the right direction, that's fine too. But always having a time frame keeps you moving. which is really important. So that's the basics of SMART goals. The next most important thing, which backs up everything behind a SMART goal, is having a very clear why. Why is this goal important to you? Because if you're just doing it because someone told you to, you're going to lose steam really, really quickly. So it's important to have this SMART goal, but then really check it and say, is this really important to me? Is this really passionate to me? Because if it's not, you might want to look at changing it a little bit and getting it to what's really important to the core of who you are. So a good example of this is, you know what? I need to make more money. I want to make $5,000 this summer. Or sorry, I want to make $5,000 this month. Great. Well, why is that important to you? I don't know. I never really thought about it. All of a sudden you bring it all the way back and you break it down and you realize, hey, if I can make $5,000 this month and every month moving forward, I can save, say, $3,000 or $4,000 for a trip at the end of the summer and reward me and my family because we've never gone out before. Really attach the why behind what you're setting your goals on. A lot of us, especially in the beginning, need to set financial goals. Really tie that money to something that's meaningful to you, because otherwise it's just paper or just numbers on a screen. We need to have the why behind what we do in our business. It's so, so important. So that's the basic idea of everything that we do in Best Mindset when it comes to goal setting. So let's actually take a look at the form that you'll be filling out on a regular basis that backs up this whole concept. So here's the form. So when you come in, you'll always want to have some of this pre-filled out if you can to help you be prepared to make sure you're coming in with a very clear mindset about what you want to get out of the group. It may change as you work with your group on it, but to come in with some of this pre-filled out will really help you get more out of the group as well. The first thing we're going to look at is your achievable, inspirational, and outrageous goal. And these are all financial goals. So these are the amount of money that you want to make between now and your next session. Profit. Not revenue, but actually how much do you want to profit in your business. So achievable is all about what are you guaranteed you're going to make. For a lot of us as business owners, we have a kind of a set amount of income that we know every couple of weeks or every month that we're going to make. So we're kind of pretty sure achievable is something that we've kind of got down pat. For some of us, it may be zero because we haven't quite made any money in our business yet. But for those who are making money in your business, achievable goal is something that you're guaranteed you're pretty much going to hit no matter what. Inspirational is all about looking back in your business saying, when I have an absolute perfect week or an absolute perfect month, I know I can make about this much, but everything the stars have to align for that to happen. That's that number. So that's that step up from the achievable goal. And outrageous is very interesting. This is where we're usually too afraid to actually even write it down. We say, I've never made that much money, or I've never pushed myself that much. I wouldn't even write that down. Write it down. That is your outrageous goal. It gives you something to strive for beyond things you've done in the past. This is the thing that usually people are too afraid to write down because they don't want to go and miss it. Well, that's okay, because you can go after these goals, and if you hit them, now you have something more to strive towards. Always pushing yourself to that next step is an extremely important part about setting a goal and being a very tenacious entrepreneur. So let's look at the next step. So we talked about this. Why is this important to me? So this is important to me because fill that statement out and really connect your heart to why these numbers are important to you, because otherwise they're just numbers. They're meaningless. Create meaning by really thinking through why are these financial goals important to you. And now this is where it's important when you're working with the group. Based on some of these financial goals, you may need some assistance and stuff. So really asking out, I would like advice on how to ... So what that's asking you is saying, what would you, if you had 3 entrepreneurs to work with for the next 20 minutes, what would you like to get advice on? Some of you may want specific advice, specific feedback, and some of you may just need a sounding board or someone to kind of lean on and talk about some of the stuff that's going on in your business. Either is fine, but really get clear about what do you want advice on with the group that you're going to be working with to hit your goal. Make sure it's relevant to the goal at hand. And like I said, sometimes it's very specific. Sometimes it's I need specific strategies to get out there and grow my business. Sometimes it's, you know what, I'm just really frustrated right now with where I'm at. And I'd just like some thoughts and feedback on where you guys have been at and when you've been frustrated and how you worked through that emotional curve. And that's fine too. As entrepreneurs, when we coach each other, it's extremely important to remember when you're going through this, ask for advice, be very open-minded. Be very open to the feedback you're going to get from others, and also just make sure that you're not relying on exactly what other people say to build your business on. It's more about working together, creating a community that helps and supports each other to reach a common goal. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. It's definitely can feel lonely at times, and having advice from other entrepreneurs and even just talking about your business with other entrepreneurs and finding common ground is so important when we're going out and setting goals to feel like we're part of something more than just ourselves. So that's why this part's so important. Now it comes down to this. I will take action to hit my goals by. This is where we really hold your feet to the fire. We will all as a group hold you accountable to committing to 3 action items that you're going to do to hit this financial goal. Make sure that the 3 things that you write down here are the 3 things that you are absolutely committed to hitting, because that's what we're going to hold you accountable to actually hitting by the time you come back to your next session. Also, make sure these 3 things are directly impacting the financial part of your business. If they're fluffy things that aren't impacting your ability to make money, really look at them and ask yourself, why am I writing this stuff down? So really look, what are the action items that you're going to take to hit your goal? Sometimes this stuff is stuff you take away from the session. Sometimes this stuff is stuff you take away from other members in the group. And sometimes this is just stuff you already knew you had to do, but you're writing it down because you want some accountability on it. That's fine. Commit to 3, and that's what we're going to hold you to. At the very bottom, once you've worked through with your group, you pick a partner, you write their name, their number, and the completion date that you want to have this done by, and you have a follow-up date set with your partner so you guys can actually talk about this midway through. So that's setting the goal. So setting the goal is so important. You have a clear financial goal, you know why it's important, you have some ideas of what you want to talk to your group about, and then you have some clear action items that you'll take action on. If you don't have this filled out coming in, that's totally fine. A lot of people like to wait until they've got some feedback from their group and then write down specifically some stuff after they've got some feedback from the group and maybe some thoughts from the session that we run as well. Okay, when you come back to Best Mindset Group, on the back of your paper, you're going to have something that looks like this. And it's going to be reviewing what's been going on in your business. So before we even get started with the group, what I get everyone to do is spend about 5 minutes on their own, in their own head, and just write down, was the goal hit? Why was it hit or missed? Because it's so important. If you hit your goal, what did you do right so that you can replicate that time after time after time? And if you didn't hit your goal, what are some things you could do to improve, to really just push yourself to that next level? Really understanding that why is so important. The next thing is just committing. What are the things you will continue or change moving forward? Just really identifying some core aspects that made you successful and some things you might want to improve on over the next little while. So just really having that time to reflect on your own is really important, and you will fill this out when you come back into the session. Once that's done, you'll actually share this with the group and they'll actually decide whether you actually hit your goal or not. What we hold you to is these 3 items. If you hit both of them, all 3 of them, then we give you a rating for that. If you hit just 2, there's a rating for that. And if you hit 1 or less, there's a rating for that. The biggest thing is having accountability to review this properly and be honest with yourself and understand why you hit or missed the goal. Okay, so that is the basics of goal setting that we use every single time we hit Best Mindset Group. This is the form that you'll be introduced to and you'll be working with consistently. And if you have further questions, feel free to ask other members or me at the group. And I look forward to seeing you at your next Best Mindset session.